Now look, I enjoyed season 1 of The Last of Us, but showrunners made Joel significantly less deadly compared to his video game counterpart, which kinda makes sense, but I wanted to see if I could make Joel finish the first game with fewer kills than he has in the show. For this, I'm counting any kill Joel performs in regular gameplay, quicktime events, or cutscenes. I am still allowed to damage enemies as long as I don't kill them, and my allies can kill anyone without consequence. With season 2 coming out, I figured now is the perfect time to replay part 1 and revisit season 1 of the show, so let's get into it. We started off in 2013 with Joel and his daughter Sarah.
Drugs. I sell hardcore drugs.
Yeah, I guess that's fine as long as you're not killing it. Sarah, oh my god, Sarah, that man has a family. Joel had to get away from Sarah, and as soon as he came back, earned his first kill on his infected neighbor Jimmy. Just to keep things interesting, I'll be counting both infected and survivor kills, but I'll tally them separately. In the show at this point, Joel instead takes out his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Adler.
Hey Sarah, how you holding up, honey?
I feel like shit. Thanks for asking, Tommy. Luckily, that's the only kill in the prologue chapter, and in the entire first episode. But this first episode also covers the second chapter of the game, the Quarantine Zone, where we were looking for a man named Robert.
We could just let Robert go.
Good idea, Tess. This is a pacifist run after all. Out of the kindness of my heart, I let this guy live, and then snuck by this first group of runners. The game randomly crashed, and then it was on to Robert's goons, who Tess had to kill for me. Any day, Tess. Oh my god, how much ammo did you bring? Luckily, instead of just waiting on my allies, I had a backup strategy. If I grabbed an enemy hostage and shot with my pistol, other enemies would shoot at my human shield. Since I didn't deliver the killing blow, this was allowed and would be extremely useful for the entire playthrough. The next two areas were the same deal. Tess chipped in here and there and always had to kill the last guy, but I could take hostages. The only difficulty was sometimes other enemies couldn't land a single shot while I was holding. Never mind. We ran past Robert's goons, and Tess killed Robert. Everyone say thank you, Tess. Marlene propositioned us to smuggle something for her, so we snuck by this group of soldiers. I got introduced to Ellie and showed her Joel's apartment.
Damn bitch. He lives like this?
Okay. Rude. But now it was time to go outside the wall. Right off the bat, Ellie got exposed, and I had to watch Joel straight up shoot this guy in a cutscene, which was frustrating, but luckily, he also beat a soldier to death in the show, so our kill counter wasn't too high. On to our next building, where Tess killed this clicker for me. Thank you, Tess. And I thanked her even more by letting this one clicker know we were all there. But even with all that heads up, he couldn't even get one bite in. In these buildings, though, I got separated from Tess and Ellie and was completely on my own. This one room had 4 runners and a clicker, which need to be killed to progress. Though luckily there was a strategy here. Like with survivors, if I grabbed a runner hostage, I could trick the clicker into eating one. This only worked with clickers and runners, but using this strategy meant I could avoid killing all 4 runners, and I was only forced to kill the one clicker. I snuck through the subway area and came to this group of 3 runners outside the museum, where Tess killed 2 of them, and the final one I just ran from until I could push this crate to climb onto the truck. Once we were in the museum, I prepared for combat, but this time when Joel was on his own, I didn't have to kill any of these clickers or this runner, and I could just sprint back to Ellie and Tess just as she was bitten. And in another combat section, I reused the same strategy I did in the tilted buildings with the clicker. Use one infected to kill another. Alright, maybe too soon. Meanwhile in the show, Joel had to kill 2 clickers in this museum section, and he also killed a runner on the floor of the Capitol building. But the game didn't have infected in this building at all. Tess sacrificed herself in the Capitol building while I snuck past these soldiers, so Joel didn't have to kill anyone for the rest of this chapter, and it was on to Bill's town, which is of course the biggest deviation the show takes from the game. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like this episode of the show, largely because I didn't find myself comparing it to the game as much, but it really threw a wrench into my plans for the challenge. Bill and Frank are over here enjoying life, eating strawberries, dying old together, while I'm dying 500 times to Bill's traps. Not getting me a second time I see the trap. In one of the most scripted parts of the game, Joel got caught upside down. Now, there is actually a way to skip this part via glitches in both the original game and the remake, but I did want to do this playthrough without glitches. This many infected kills in one spot was kind of awful for my playthrough, but don't worry, I had a plan to not kill anymore, which was already my plan, but it's still my plan. Show Joel was playing checkers, while Game Joel was playing chess.
Hey, Bobby Fischer, don't touch anything on that board.
Or maybe not. Oh, at this point we met Bill, and we were off to find a working car. Of course, this part of the game had a ton of infected, so being a pacifist here was tough. Right away, Bill refused to kill these clickers, which was super frustrating because no matter how much I ran or tried to lure them into his tripwire, nothing happened until I was messing around and shot at one of the clickers. This prompted Bill to also start shooting, and I discovered that just shooting a gun at all prompted my allies to shoot too. They would usually only shoot like one magazine and then stop again until I shot more, but this strategy would be key to making my allies actually useful and save me from getting kills.
Here.
What am I gonna do with a shotgun? I can't kill, Bill. Yeah, this didn't get very much use.
Well, if you got anything to confess, this would be the place to do it.
Frank, now I know that's not what you want to hear, but
I figured you should know that.
Joel, what? I snuck through the outdoors until we got to the school where you were forced into combat, and Bill was insanely clutch here. I didn't have to kill anything.
Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be.
You can say that again. The car battery wasn't there, but we continued onward, and the inside of the high school was such a pain. It reminded me of doing those group projects in high school where one person would just do absolutely nothing. And I was that one person. Bill saved me. I swear I've snuck by all the infected here before, but for some reason, I really struggled with it this playthrough. This one runner kept changing his path and messing me up, and the three at the end of this hallway also kept spotting me instead of walking past. The game also randomly gave me a checkpoint partway through, which kind of helped, but I still struggled. Even in stealth, Bill refused to help me open this gym door until all of the infected were dead. I know for a fact you don't have to kill all the infected because I've literally snuck through here before, but okay. Bill finally made himself useful and killed a bunch of runners, plus shot this clicker, which was more confused than I was because it just stood around twitching right in my path. Bill also didn't kill it, so I let it live and we moved on to the bloater. Bill can kill the runners that drop into the gym here, but allies can't kill bloaters in this game, so it was up to me to take it out. Alright, killing the bloater should be easy. Okay. Second time around though, killing it was actually pretty easy with my shotgun. And Bill killed the last runner. But after I boosted Bill and Ellie up the bleachers, Bill took forever to kill these last three infected. And all I could do was run around and shoot. But I did make this half-court shot. And then Bill finally killed the last runner. Our luck finally changed when we left the high school because we actually found a working truck. And Bill was able to clear all the infected in the truck section, but my god, did he love just running away and doing nothing. Still, he did kill them, just on his own time. It was then on to Pittsburgh, or Kansas City for some reason in the show, where Joel immediately killed two guys. And I should note that before these kills in the cutscene, Joel does straight up hit this guy with his car. At first, I wasn't sure whether or not I should count it, but then I went back to the cutscene. I never really noticed, but if you count, there are exactly 9 guys, which matches up with the first 2 Joel kills, plus 7 more guys that spawn during this encounter. I also went in excruciating detail through this cutscene so that I could match up every single model in the cutscene with a model in the encounter. I also noticed a continuity error. Where did this guy go? Where is he? Why am I doing this? But I did match them all up, and this guy was the one that Joel hit. So presumably he was alive for like 5 extra minutes. And Ellie can stab guys here, but she can't actually kill them, it just stuns them. So I did have to kill the last guy. Luckily though, this scene was adapted to the show where HBO Joel murdered 3 people after the truck crash.
So, you kill a lot of innocent people?
Ellie, have you been watching the playthrough like at all? She's trying to guilt me for killing that one guy, plus 3 others. Allegedly. At least for the bookstore and hotel, I could sneak through for the most part, but then I fell off. This section didn't require killing any of the stalkers or the bloater, but having to try this door and then open it is always so annoying because you either get the checkpoint when you first try the door and then have to go pick up the key card, or you get the checkpoint when you pick up the key card, but before you try opening the door, so you have to open it twice. This is legitimately so frustrating. Why did they design it like this? Oh my god. Either way though, no kills, and I made it through on my something try, let's not worry about it. But I was worried about this next area. To climb out of this restaurant, I first had to make sure all these hunters were dead. There is a clicker in this area at the start, but even if I stop this guy from shooting it so I can use it to eat the other guys, it still dies. I could lean on my usual strategy of holding hostages and getting them to kill each other. If I left any of them alive, the prompt to pick up the ladder wouldn't appear, so I had to shoot another guy. Ellie saved my ass. Oh, so that's not a cutscene. And then it was on to the financial district.
Right now, I'm gonna jump down there and I'm gonna clear us a path.
That's a straight up lie. Ellie, you will be doing all of the work. This part was okay. The only problem I had here was shooting guys in the leg to stun them would sometimes kill them, so I did have to restart the checkpoint a few times, but for the most part, they killed each other or Ellie sniped them.
It's for emergencies only.
The emergency is I want you to kill everyone for me.
How the did they wipe out the entire crew over there?
I mean, you kinda did it to yourselves. And they did it again here, except for these guys that Ellie killed. But another problem I ran into was accidentally picking up melee weapons, which I wanted to avoid, since that would make me much more likely to kill someone instead of just punching them. I went into a 10-hour deep dive explaining Dawn of the Wolf lore to Ellie, and then we rushed to the toy store with our new friends, Sam and Henry.
What's the rule about taking stuff? We have to.
That's right.
Good job, Ellie, following rules. Other than giving good advice, Henry also could sometimes kill these guys if he felt like it. Our plan now is to break out of Pittsburgh, and this played out somewhat similarly in both the game and the show. To get out of Pittsburgh, we had to break through this heavily guarded gate, which meant I was going to force all the work on these guys to kill each other, and Henry to help them. Henry, being a great guy, recommended Joel a bar he should check out before leaving the city, so Ellie and I headed inside where, once again, the same strat as before worked.
Did you just see me?
Yeah, you just killed a guy. And there are literally 2 of us. Why are they ramming cars with a tank? This is some GTA Online behavior. Sarah, not again. Instead of drowning though, we woke up on a beach. A sewer grate? What are we, some kind of suicide squad? Yeah, I deserved that. For the first group of infected, Henry went to work. I think in a past video he wouldn't kill this final clicker, but shooting at the ground activated him and Ellie to actually kill it. After some child endangerment, I snuck through this area with Sam, and we all sprinted upstairs.
Here, give me a boost.
I got it. I just ran circles around these infected, and then we moved on to the suburbs. At this part, Joel had to stab the sniper in a QuickTime event, but Joel also kills this guy in the show. From here, Joel took over the sniper, and there was just one major difference between the kills here in the game versus the show. The main difference is infected versus survivors. In the game, there were a few checkpoints. In the first checkpoint, there were 6 guys that Joel had to kill before they would reach the rest of the group and immediately kill them. There were then 6 more guys who spawned in that I also had to kill before this tank appeared. Now, with this tank, 3 more guys spawned in, and Joel also needed to shoot 1 guy inside the tank to take it out. So in total, this should be 16 enemies. However, on more than one occasion, I only had to kill 2 of the 3 final guys. The 3rd guy would simply run away and disappear while the tank moved forward, and Joel was forced to shoot this Molotov guy. So instead of 16, that meant the total here was just 15, which was still pretty bad. On top of this, everyone got jumped by infected, and I had to shoot either the clicker on Sam or the runner on Henry. It didn't matter which one I shot, but I had to get 1 more infected kill. Not ideal by any means, and my allies were completely useless. But I didn't have to kill any of the remaining infected that poured in after that. The show had a similar sniper section, but the key difference with this one is that it was actually more infected heavy than survivors. In the show, Joel sniped this truck driver, and then a bunch of infected which were really hard to count. I could kinda use visual cues like infected falling around Ellie or the sound of a bullet hitting an infected, combined with Joel reloading. But all of Joel's shots didn't hit, and you could actually hear some of them hit the side of this car. Or like, what did he even hit here? It didn't show us. At least after this, the show gave some easier to count kills. And this one I could hear the bullet. So my best guess is Joel shot this infected at the front of the frame, and its dead body is at the side of the next shot. And Joel definitely shot this clicker. I tried to not overcount, but continuity is hard. So my survivor kill comparison wasn't looking great right now, but at least Joel was giving me some infected to balance it out. And then it was on to Tommy's Dam, where we had a nice family reunion. This also took me to the bandit section, which took me many attempts. The reason this was hard was twofold. One, Tommy's men were kind of terrible at getting kills. The bandits were behind cover most of the time and were hard for my allies to hit. They also were relatively close together, making it very difficult for me to pull off the hostage strategy without dying myself. It took me a while until I got lucky, but with a combo of my allies and hostages, I managed to get through here without any kills. Ellie found out I was trying to ditch her and ran off to this farmhouse, which led me to the ambush in the woods, which was much easier to make these guys kill each other, but man, Tommy really took his sweet time with killing the last guy here. This man does not care if I live or die. And why did he use the Seraphite whistle? And then it was time to speak with Ellie.
What do you want from me?
Admit
Which shirt goes with which skirt?
It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Damn, Joel, you could have at least lied. In the farmhouse, I could get this group down to 1 guy, but cowardice ran in the family because Tommy refused to kill the last guy. I mean, he straight up bolted upstairs as soon as it was 1 guy left, and the 1 guy left would always run to the kitchen downstairs. After ages of dragging this 1 guy upstairs to where Tommy was hiding, he finally punched this guy out. Like, what was he waiting on? But Joel changed his mind and headed to the university to teach Ellie about football.
Mess up your 4th down, then you die from a heart attack.
Right, it's called turnover.
And the first thing I had to do here was leave Ellie behind a gate and turn on this generator, which was guarded by a large group of runners. I thought I was cooked at first, but luckily Ellie could actually shoot through this gate, and by running around enough, she shot them all. But it took her like 10 minutes of shooting at nothing to get the last one. Oh my god, why are my allies playing with me like this? But she got it. I just barely snuck through this basement area with clickers and the bloater before we completely skipped this guy's podcast and somehow happened to hear the part that mentioned Salt Lake City. So I guess we were headed there next. A bunch of guys attacked us, and after throwing a bottle at this charging guy and using a smoke bomb, I could just run past the rest until... So, what to do about this guy? Well, in my initial kill count video, I did count this as a kill, so you could argue in the comments that it should still count, but the more I think about it, I don't think it should count. This guy ambushed Joel, shoved him into the railing, and while the two struggled, the railing broke, with Joel landing on this soft piece of rebar, and the other guy presumably dying. And from this angle, the other guy's also to blame for his fall, so argue if you want, but I don't think this should count. But luckily, right after arguing against this kill, I was rewarded with a must-kill enemy. Joel basically just dies if I do nothing, so even though I carefully aimed for the leg, the guy died anyway. Ellie did at least clear the rest of the guys between us and the horse. Meanwhile, Joel barely gets stabbed and had to kill one guy. Come on, that's so easy. So now it was nap time for Joel and winter for Ellie. Even though I wasn't really counting Ellie's kills, since Joel being a pacifist kind of relies on her getting more kills than normal, I did try to avoid kills during the winter section. I met David, who was not very helpful.
Let's hope they don't find him.
Yeah, real good job at hiding him, asshole. These sections with David basically just relied on me running around a ton, and the first room wasn't as bad as I remembered. In the second area, if David got grabbed, I could throw a brick or bottle to free him, but he only struggled a bit when multiple clickers spawned in. And the only infected David couldn't kill was this floater, so Ellie did have to kill it. It was then back to Joel with a little surprise.
Hardcore drugs.
Thanks, Sarah. Before giving this other guy a surprise, I snuck into the main lodge building, and at this locked door, there were two guys who always knew where I was, so I did have to kill them in order to escape. Then it was back to Joel, who managed to scare off all these guys by running at them, but I beat this guy to the jump and he turned around to punch me, so I killed him in a cutscene. Yeah, unfortunately, Joel had to torture and kill two guys here. But in the winter episode of the show, Joel shivved this first guy before taking two others hostage and killing them too. Ellie got a bite of some human meat, killed James, and then snuck all the way to the David fight, which I am very bad at, but I still beat it. As Joel, I basically ran through to find Ellie hacking away at David in what is probably the most deserved death in the game. Nearing the end, I was getting nervous with how high my kill counts were, but I needed to trust the process. There's really only one combat section in Salt Lake City, and of course the developers want you to waste all your ammo on this tunnel full of infected, but I knew a path to sneak by, so I waited until after this moment to waste all my ammo. Of course, after going through the entire tunnel, I made it to this gate Ellie had to jump over. The problem is that there's a clicker waiting behind this gate for her, and the only way to save Ellie is to kill it, adding one to my count. However, it's possible to startle the clicker before sending Ellie to play with it, and even through the gate, Ellie will shoot at it. She missed a lot of shots, but eventually, to my surprise, Ellie actually did kill it, saving me one kill. Joel tried to take the bus, but his absolute dump truck dragged him down into the water. Ellie floated around, and then it was on to the hospital. Alright, this shouldn't be too bad. Oh, Joel, come on, man. Yeah, he killed this guy. Luckily though, most of the hospital could be done by simply sneaking or running past the fireflies, and for the most part, I was able to run by the first floor before sneaking by the second floor and using a smoke bomb to reach the exit without any more kills. This was massive, as I knew the show was a complete slaughterhouse in the hospital. Joel really came through in the hospital, raising the kill count so much, but I still had to deal with the doctor. So I shotgunned his leg. Sorry, I'm different, I would have survived that. Of course, Joel also killed the doctor before running off with Ellie. I had one last chance with Marlene to give Ellie back, and maybe there could actually be a cure for humanity. Nope, sorry Marlene. And that marked the end of the game and season 1 of the show. I consider this a complete win. I counted a few kills differently than my initial kill count video, but I beat the show in both infected and survivor kills, so a win is a win. Now hopefully none of these 27 survivor kills have any consequences. I hope you guys are excited for season 2 of The Last of Us, and I have plenty more Last of Us content coming up. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe to Epic Cakes Gaming and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.